All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another pre-fight show. It's a little special that we do here at CrossBonesMMA. My name is Eddie Law. I am your host. With us today, Jesse Ruvalcaba, straight out of California, and back from the middle of nowhere, Nick Pilecki. But he goes from the middle of nowhere to the back to the sort of middle of nowhere. So, I mean, it's not much of a change for him. But real quick, Nick, how was your week in the wilderness?
Very fun. Lots of rock walls, lots of walking. I'm exhausted. I feel like I've been in a 5-round fight. My foot hurts, my back hurts, my arms hurt, but it was well worth it for the kids. So.
Yeah, definitely.
How many kids did you lose to Bears?
Huh?
How many kids did you lose to Bears, or none
We
this
lost
time?
one kid only this year. One. Last year was 5, but this year was just 1. So we're all good.
There we
Good,
go.
cutting it down.
Pilecki's got a good record for keeping kids alive. Anyway, real quick because we weren't able to actually, well, we didn't ever get to talk about it. We didn't do it in the pocket last week because I was dying. So, real quick, Jesse, Stitch getting fired. Now he's picked up by World Series of Fighting, but Stitch getting fired by the UFC because of comments made by on Reebok. Firing a cut man for the Reebok deal. That's pushing it big time. Twitter exploded about it. They were very pissed off. Now he's hired by World Series of Fighting. What's your take on this whole thing, Stitch getting fired?
Honestly, it kind of solidified for me the rumors that have been swirling around for a while about the UFC maybe wanting, or Zuffa wanting to be out of the UFC business. Just because it's like one of those things where you kind of are seeing like they pushed out the guy in the back, babysitter to the stars, Burt Watson, a guy that's a staple in the back, has his own mind and voice, so he's not afraid to use it. And now Stitch, another guy who's, again, not afraid to use his voice, very popular out there, and he's on the outs, And it's just like an accumulation of things that we're seeing here with the UFC. It kind of just seems like they're trying to get everything lined up in order and ready to package it up and send it away to somebody else, Trying to get rid of all the boisterous, obnoxious people. I don't know if you guys know, even look at Brendan Schaub getting his fight kit pulled from Reebok. Like, man, if you could get some of the guys that like one fight in the UFC, their fight kit, why can't you get Brendan Schaub's? It's like what the hell? So it's like that type of thing. It just kind of, yeah, like me as a fan, it's really, really frustrating. I mean, those are the guys you want to see, in the UFC, they're staples, and now they're gone, so it's just weird.
Yeah, and Nick, you were gone, so you didn't even hear about this until I think last night or something like that. Stitch getting fired is just like Jason was saying, staple of the UFC. If you're a recent UFC fan especially, you've always seen Stitch. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's part of the experience. Every time the camera swoops in, when the fighter hugs his corners and they're putting everything on him, checking him for stuff, whatever, you see Stitch almost every single time. What is your take now hearing that Stitch is gone?
Yeah, like you said, I've been out of all MMA news for the last week. So when you told me that Stitch got fired, I was completely shocked, read the article on it and everything like that. It just sucks, man. Like you said, for the old school fans, he was that guy that was always cage side, getting the fighters ready and everything like that. And it sucks that he get fired for voicing his own opinion. I think that some of the fighters, let them voice their opinion, let the people voice their opinion, and then maybe you should take their opinion into account and change some stuff. But it sucks. Good for him getting signed up by WSOF. That's going to be good for him. And I guess I'll be watching WSOF a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's part of the idea is get them a little more attention by hiring Stitch and everything. But I don't know. Personally, I hope this gets figured out and you get him back, doing UFC shows. He's an independent contractor, so they do have to hire him per event. But you hope you get to see him back there again. But I'm with Jesse. I'm the more this kind of stuff happens, the more of a corporation it seems to become. The more I'm thinking either these sales rumors or these going public rumors are starting to are going to be true. You know what I mean? So I'm sure we'll find out pretty soon within a year, I think. So I guess keep an eye out for that. But we do have an event to talk about. UFC Chicago, headlined by the rematch that finally. Okay. They made weight yesterday, so it's going to happen. As long as no one gets hurt today, before the fight, we should be okay. Renan Barao coming back for a rematch, trying to get his title back against TJ Dillashaw, who has defended his title one time before against Joe Soto, I think is what it was, that they bumped up in place of Barao, who bumped his head on a tub or something and knocked himself out. So let's talk about the entire card here. Here are your times. UFC Fight Pass prelims begin at 1:15 Pacific Standard Time, 4:15 Eastern Time, with Mr. Zach Cummings against Dominic Steele. Now, Dominic Steele has look, and I say it almost every single pre-fight show. We might have the guy with the worst nickname. I think we finally found the guy with the worst nickname ever. Dominic Steele's nickname is Nonstop Action Packed. It might be the worst one ever. It's so bad I'm almost rooting for him to lose. But he's a guy that he wants to be he wants to be exciting so badly to give himself a terrible nickname. But the funny thing is that he's a guy who will try to wrestle dudes to a win, right? He will try to pin guys to a cage and kind of wrestle bang them a little bit. But when he's taken down, it's really, really weird for his ability or his, at least that him trying to wrestle people. His grappling is kind of limited, it seems. Now Cummings, meanwhile, has the wrestling and the grappling to pressure Steele and take him down, put him on his back, and make it a long night for him. And that just seems like a really bad thing for Steele. But Jesse, what do you think about this fight? And who do you got winning?
Like you said, I mean, for a nickname like that, you would expect him to be have a lot more knockouts or just have a lot more highlight reel. Man, this guy, like, he's really, really, like, willing to put himself out there. That's true. But, I mean, most of his losses have come by either a KO or a TKO. Really susceptible to getting hit. Just puts himself out there a little too much. But then on the other side, he's fighting someone that's probably not really going to hit him too hard. He's got some striking, in Zach Cummings. But, I mean, I was never impressed with his performance on, I think it was the Ultimate Fighter, the Chael Sonnen season, I think, right? So, I mean, like Eddie said, I mean, he's more of a ground specialist. Really, I think he's like a brown belt under Novo Niao or something like that, like one of those camps. So, I mean, second fight at welterweight, we'll see how this turns out. I mean, this seems kind of like one of those fights that it's buried here on the undercard just because I think they're kind of unsure on what the future holds for both of these guys. But I give the edge here to Cummings a little bit, just because he's got that better wrestling, better jiu-jitsu game that might be able to stifle out the action-packed guys. So we'll see. That's my pick.
All right, Nick, who you got and why? Nick?
Uh-oh.
I think he left his ears back. Oh, no, he left everything back. That dude's frozen. All right. We'll get his... Oh, here we go. You there? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
God. What the hell? Okay, anyway. What's up?
All right, so what do you think on this fight? Zach Cummings against Nonstop Action Packed. Who are you picking and why?
I'm picking Zach Cummings, man. Like you said before, Dominic is a wrestler, man. He's going to come down. He's going to shoot for that double leg and everything. And I think we're going to get that classic out-of-nowhere guillotine choke from Zach Cummings. Like, with his submission game and everything like that, he's a good submission grappler. I think we're going to get that classic guillotine choke from the double leg. It's bound to happen, and I think that's what's going to start off this night of great fights, because I'm actually really excited for this card.
Yeah, definitely. Overall, up and down, it's a pretty good card. So I'm going to take Cummings as well. I'm taking via decision. I think it's going to be kind of like a grappling match, the whole time, and I think nonstop action packed and end up on the losing end of it. So, all right, moving on here. Ramsey Nijem, who actually had a lot of hype to him until very recently, taking on Andrew Holbrook, who is undefeated. So no nicknames, no jokes, also no wrestling ability from Holbrook, as in none. But somehow he does have a good jiu-jitsu game, and he has the ability to be a pest with continuous submission attempts. And 10-0, all of his wins have become via submission. So, that being said, Nijem is a wrestler. He's actually got some good striking, some heavy hands. Now, he's not good at defending himself on the feet. He leaves himself open for shots a lot, but he can land heavy shots. So, it's really easy to lean towards Nijem here. But Nick, who do you have in this fight, Nijem versus Holbrook?
I think I'm going to go Holbrook on this. He's the undefeated fighter. He's coming in with a strong background in submission. I don't know that much about Ramsey, but I think Holbrook just has that good submission game, and I think that it's going to be a long, grueling fight, especially a ground fight. But in the long run, I think Andrew Holbrook's going to end up getting this win.
All right, Jesse.
Man, I think the problem here is Ramsey was a part of one of the tough seasons, and I mean I followed his career a little bit. I mean he came into the UFC with a little bit of promise. You know he was real diverse. You know he had like this just kind of awkward style that really people couldn't really figure out. But I mean he's just had some really tough losses. I mean his last loss was a TKO loss. I mean he's just kind of been iffy recently. And even though he's got you know a pretty decent, I would say, ground game, I don't think he's ready for what Holbrook is bringing to this fight. The only problem is, like I always say, it's Holbrook's first fight in the UFC, and that's always like a negative in my book, you know. So we'll see. I'm picking Andrew here, but I mean Nijim, he's a little tricky sometimes, and he can pull out wins. You know, just surprisingly. So we'll see. But I'm pretty confident that Andrew here is gonna just rack up another submission. I guess he's gonna be the male Ronda Rousey for a while, maybe.
No, just submissions only. Yeah, no, you know what? I'm actually gonna go with Ramsey Nijim here. I think he's due for to do something. Yeah, you're right. He came in with a lot of promise. You know, he showed what he could do before. He does have those heavy hands. He likes to throw them. He can be caught, but Andrew Holbrook's striking game is nothing to be afraid of. So I'm thinking he's going to end up catching Holbrook sometime, you know, in probably the second, third round, and we'll get Nijim via TKO. That's my pick. All right, moving on here. Darren Cruikshank in the Fight Pass pin is kind of weird because I think he was on a main card not too long ago. But Darren Cruikshank taking on James Cross. Cruikshank has a very flashy striking, and he's got a wrestling ability that he can use to his advantage. Now, this is just my opinion. A lot of people will disagree with me. James Cross hasn't shown me enough to pick him in this fight, even if Darren is coming off to a loss to Benil Dariush. So Cruikshank is inconsistent, but he's talented on the feet, and I think Cross is talented enough to pull off a win here. But again, he hasn't shown me enough to make me believe like he'll beat Cruikshank. What do you think, Jesse?
I kind of agree with you, but I'm picking Cross here. And the only reason I'm picking him is because of Cruikshank's ability to just take a lot of damage. He likes to strike. He's really good on the feet. But he also leaves himself really open to get counterpunched. He can get sometimes really lazy with his striking, from what I remember. And so and that's where I see where the problem's going to be for him in the striking department. Yeah, his last loss, it just left me with like a lot to desire. You know, Cruikshank, I believe, could have beat Dariush. And then before that, I think it was him that got poked by KJ Noons, right? It was a no contest. So I mean, it's just kind of been like bad news after bad news after bad news for Cruikshank. So and I think Krause has to win here because he's already on a 2-fight losing streak. So I mean, if that's not going to motivate him to do something here in this fight, then he might as well get his walking papers and move on out of here. But I think he'll do something here in this fight that'll get him the win.
All right, yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna go the other way. I'm going with Cruikshank here. Via TKO. I think he's finally gonna show, get back into form. I'm hoping anyway. But that's gonna be my pick. Nick, who do you got in this fight and why?
I'm picking Cruikshank for the exact same reason you said. I don't think that we've seen enough of Krause yet for me to pick him. And even though Cruikshank's coming off a loss, I think he's a better fighter in this fight. And yeah, I'm gonna go with Cruikshank's.
All right. Moving on here to the Fox prelims. It's not gonna be Fox Sports 1. It's not gonna be any more. That last one was the end of the Fight Pass prelims. The Fox prelims begin on Fox at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Getting kicked off by Eddie Wineland taking on Brian Caraway. Sorry. Wow, that wasn't even on purpose. I kind of wish I was. I kind of wish I had scripted that.
See, I thought it was on purpose. That was a good one.
No, I kind of wish I was on purpose. I'd have given myself a little bit of props for that. Anyway,
are we missing a fight in the early prelims?
I don't think so. Are we?
Jessamine Duke against
Elizabeth.
Oh, shoot. I completely forgot about it. I think I put her... Where is that? Oh, my bad. That is. I kind of scroll over it. All right. Go back a little bit. We missed on Jessamine Duke versus Elizabeth Phillips. Actually, it's right here. My bad. All right, so before we get to Fox prelims, one more fight in the Fight Pass prelims. Jessamyn Duke against Elizabeth Phillips. Now, how Duke is still in the UFC can only be explained by the fact she's very good friends with Ronda Rousey. I think she's 1-2 in the UFC so far. So, otherwise, there's really no way that a fighter with as much potential as we all thought she had should still be fighting for the top promotion in the world, in my opinion. Now, she's tall, she has a long reach, but she doesn't know how to use it, or she just freezes in a fight or refuses to use it. But she has reach that she should be able to use to pick off fighters. Luckily for her, this matchup should be in her favor, and it should be, because Elizabeth Phillips can turn this into a grapple session real fast and get a decision, likely handing Duke her walking papers. But, this is almost like a fight tailor-made for Jessamyn Duke, Jesse. So, I'm gonna go ahead and take Jessamyn Duke on this one via decision, hoping that she finally lives up to the little bit of potential the little bit of flashes she's shown before. What do you think on this fight?
I think the problem here is exactly what you said. She doesn't know how to use her reach. I'm hoping that with I think Travis Brown was there training with them for a little bit. He's the type of guy that knows how to use his reach with the striking that he probably picked up from Edmond. You look at the videos of her training, and her striking looks great, on point and everything. It's just it's like she doesn't know how to use it. And I'm hoping that cross-training with, some of the other people at that camp will help her. The only thing that's in her favor in this fight, though, is that she already has a win over Phillips. They were amateurs. I think she beat her, I think it was like a decision, probably. But the thing is here that both of these are coming off losses. They're both on a 2-fight losing streak. I mean, someone's going to get cut here, one way or another. And the thing is that we need all these 135ers to stay here, just because there's not any depth here at this division. You just need more people, more bodies to fill up this division. And I mean, next week we're going to see just another person just get slaughtered, to the champion. So I mean, it just sucks that like this division is not being built up like it should be. So I mean, but yeah, I'm picking Duke just for those reasons. But it should be. I think that's why it's buried here under all these other awesome fights.
Yeah, and fun fact, Jessamyn Duke used to be a model, and if she gets cut, she might as well go back to that, because if she can't use her reach there, I mean, use your height and looks and all that elsewhere. So, Nick, what do you think on this fight, Jessamyn Duke against Elizabeth Phillips?
I am going away from you guys. I'm going with Elizabeth Phillips. I'm saying bye-bye Jessamyn Duke. I think she's going to go back to Invicta and start working on her skills a little bit more. She does have the skills, like you guys said. She does have the reach. She does have the height, but she does not know how to use them. We've seen them in her past fights. She never uses her reach to her advantage that she needs to do. Unless she does in this fight, I don't see her winning this fight against Elizabeth Phillips. Even though this is the second time they fought, even though it was amateur, I think Elizabeth Phillips has grown as a fighter. I've seen some of her past fights, and I think she's going to end up getting this win.
All right, and actually we have a couple texts in. Max Reed, Max Reed was texting it before. Max saying that Takanori Gomi fights everyone and wins. That's his prediction for the entire card. So the Fireball Kid's going to knock everybody out in this card, just one by one. Just line them up, basically. So anyway, all right, now we can get to the Fox prelims. Again, the Fight Pass prelims starting actually in about an hour and change. Fight Pass prelims starting at 1:15 p.m. Pacific, 4:15 Eastern. The Fox prelims, again, Fox, not Fox Sports 1, Fox. So I think Fox is like the movie channel Fox that they use for all their sitcoms and shit. So 3 p.m. Pacific on Fox is the prelims, and 6 p.m. Eastern, kicked off by Eddie Wineland against Brian Caraway. So likely, okay, I'll just get it out there. Brian Caraway is likely a guy that's going to take his girlfriend's last name if they get married, all right? It's going to be Brian Tate now that I think about it. There's got to be a reason why I said that. I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. He's going to be Brian Tate, not it's not going to be Misha Caraway. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, Caraway's a guy who seems to be only talented on the ground, even if he needs an illegal fish hook to win the fight, as we saw against, forgot who it was he was fighting, but he just fish hooked him to death, so, which is illegal as fuck. But his striking is elementary, and he's not athletic, or doesn't seem to be athletic at all, but he somehow pulls off wins, man. It's a really weird thing for me to see. Meanwhile, Wineland has good takedown defense with some pretty good striking, but he doesn't move around very much. He's almost like he's stuck on a track in front of his opponent and rock him, sock him. and he doesn't move very much. He takes a lot of damage. So I think if Caraway can get the fight to the ground, Wineland could be done. And but I'm gonna give my pick right here. I'm picking Wineland being TKO because come on, man, you cannot let Caraway win. All right. But Nick, what do you think about this fight, Wineland against Caraway?
Cupcake Caraway's losing this fight. I think Eddie Wineland's going to rock him, and he's going to end up getting that TKO win. Caraway, like you said, he's a good wrestler, but Eddie Wineland has a great takedown defense, and I think that's going to help him in his favor. I think Caraway's going to come in, he's going to play that game, he's going to put out some feelers out there and go for the takedown. He's going to get stuffed, and then he's going to get rocked. That's exactly what's going to happen, in my opinion, so I'm going to go with Eddie Wineland on this one. I like Eddie Wineland. He's climbing up the ranks really, really fast, and I kind of want to see him hopefully in the top 5, getting hopefully a number 1 or number 2 contender, but that division's crazy already, so we'll see what happens.
All right, Justin, what do you think about this fight? Look, you might be leaning the other way a little bit.
Just damn, you want Eddie Wineland to get killed up there. I mean, I agree with you guys. I mean, Wineland is the better striker, the better takedown defender. I mean, I don't think the only way Caraway gets this to the ground is if he pushes him up against the cage and gets one of those, easy takedowns. And that's really the problem here. But I think what you guys are forgetting, and everybody forgets this, is that Caraway has a secret weapon. And that's his coach. And that's Misha in the back telling him that he needs to throw punches, he needs to kick. You know what? Never mind. Now, what's going to happen here is he's just gonna listen to her, and he's gonna get beaten half to death out there. And see, the thing is that I have to have Caraway to win, because if he gets destroyed out there, that's gonna affect Misha Tate later, and I can't have that happening, guys. You can't have Jessica I winning this fight. Just can't happen. I mean, unfortunately. Wyland, I think I sent him a check earlier this week. I think we're gonna be good. I got some advice from Vanderlei earlier. So Caraway win. Somehow he's gonna throw one of them phantom punches, and Wyland's gonna go down in the 3rd round or something after someone screams in the crowd.
Oh man! All right, and that's the thing. It could just be Misha Tate be like whipping them titties or something. I don't know, something like that. It's got to be tough to date Misha Tate. It's got to be hard to be known as Misha Tate's boyfriend, right?
Man, I don't know. I think like you said, I think he probably wouldn't. He would take her name, but he'd hyphenate it and like try to explain it to everybody. Like, oh, see, we're modern. We hyphenate it. But I mean, that's the bad thing here. I mean, I think they should learn, and everybody here should know by now that if you have somebody that's close to you on a card with you, it's not a good thing, because you're thinking about the other person, especially if they corner each other. That it's just bad form. You want to be wholly concentrated on your fight, and I think this is going to take away from Misha. Because like you guys said, I think Wyland's just going to destroy Caraway here. And like Eddie said, I mean, it's just surprising how many wins he has. By the way he fights, the way he gets hit. Like you would think. He just gets destroyed every single time he goes out there, but somehow he's almost like a less athletic Michael Bisping, where he just kind of grinds away and then finally he puts someone away, and you're like, what happened there? And it's surprising because with 12 knockouts to his credit, you're just like, well, these guys either have glass chins or something, but I'm gonna stick with my pick of Caraway just because, like I said, if he gets destroyed, I mean, it's just gonna be bad later on, so.
Yeah, and Mike Jarvis tweeting in saying win by fishhook with the picture of the fishhook I was talking about. Fucking Caraway, son of a bitch. Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm with Jesse on this. Ask the Pettis brothers how it worked out last time. Okay, fighting on the same card. Right, both of those guys lost. So it did work for Kane and DC once, but I don't think they've done it since then. So yeah, definitely not something you want to make a habit of doing. You want to stay fully focused on your fight. And not have to worry about cornering somebody else and watching, for Misha, watching her boyfriend get his ass whooped in the cage and being worried about that instead of worrying about Jessica I coming in with some slick boxing to knock her head off. So we'll see how that works out tonight. All right, up next we get Kenny Robertson against Ben Killer B Saunders. I'm actually a fan of the Killer B, mostly because he's a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu student, and I'm a big fan of Eddie Bravo. So I do lean towards these guys, winning because I want to see jiu-jitsu, but you got to get to the jiu-jitsu part. You got to get the fight to the ground. So, Robertson comes in with a 3-fight win streak, and he gets a guy in Saunders who we really don't know what he has recently because in his last fight against Joe Riggs, it ended in seconds because Riggs hurt his neck. I think it was on a takedown or something. So, good old Joe busted his neck and ended the fight real fast. Robertson is he's a good ground game, right? And his striking is complemented pretty well by some nasty leg kicks. That being said, Killer B's Muay Thai is set to be improving, right? Even more than it was before. And his ground game is courtesy of Eddie Bravo, the 10th Planet System. It's gonna be at a high level. I think it's gonna be an interesting fight. Probably in my opinion, the most interesting fight in the prelims. Mostly because I want to see what Ben Saunders has. And I'm picking Saunders via submission. Jesse, who you got in this fight and why?
Man, so I guess now we know that Eddie is also a fan of the green plant that grows, because pretty much everybody that's a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu guy knows the secrets of how to get better at Jiu-Jitsu that way. But but yeah, I mean, you look at what Ben Saunders has done over his career. He's just one of those guys that every time he comes out, he's doing something different and learning from what he's getting, experience in the cage. And I think, looking at his run when he was in Bellator, that was really impressive. Like, he really took those chumps to school, beat a lot of those guys up really, really badly, and really showed off his jiu-jitsu skills and, like, what he's able to do. And, yeah, his striking, to me, it's awkward. And that's the key here. He's such an awkward fighter, It's an awkward style to deal with Ben Saunders. And like you said, yeah, on the other side, Robertson, he's just even keeled. 6 submissions, 6 KOs. He's that type of guy that knows to be comfortable in every position. If we're striking it out against the cage, on the ground, he's pretty comfortable there. The thing is that I'm going to go with Saunders here, and I think we're actually going to see a surprising thing out of Saunders. I think his striking is going to be on display here. Just because we need to see that extra it thing from Ben Saunders. And I mean, Eddie and Nick, I mean, you guys know, as a fan, we're looking at this fight card, and we always talk about this, how like we can see like how picturesque like the UFC matchmakers do in this. We get a really, really good ass kicking in the first fight here. And then, just you start seeing, like, just the different ways of how exciting these fights are going to be leading up to that main event. So, I mean, I think, like Nick said, I'm pretty excited for these fights. Once I started looking over this, I kind of overlooked this fight card, and then I started looking into it, and I was like, wow, there's some really, really good fights here that, I'm probably going to be 3 or 4 beers in. I'm, going to be screaming my head off here.
Yeah, and what's weird too is that there's word right now with like other with like, let's say, MMA writers, is that this card is set for some like low ratings, which makes no sense when you look at the card, right? It makes 0 sense. But I mean, maybe because it's a Saturday, maybe because people are out, maybe there's a lot of reasons for it. I know sure as hell that if you're a hardcore fan, you're definitely watching this fight, this card, if at least for the Barao Dillashaw fight. But this whole card is littered with just good fights all around. So, Nick, Ben Saunders against Kenny Robertson, who you got and why?
Same reason for you guys, man. I'm going Ben Saunders. We didn't get to see his full potentials last fight, like you guys said, and I think he does have that skill coming from 10th Planet. He has that great jiu-jitsu background, and then he does have that crazy Muay Thai striking as well that he's been working on. I think that we're going to see some more out of Ben Saunders tonight, and we're going to see not his full potential, but what he has to bring to the octagon. Kenny Robertson, like, I don't know. I don't think he can stand up to Ben Saunders on this fight. I think it's going to be a very entertaining fight. It could be a long fight, but I see Ben Saunders winning it by submission. All
right, you heard it here first. Ben Saunders, all three of us picking him to win Jesse via striking, and me and Nick by submission. So, all right, moving on here to Jim Miller versus Danny Castillo. This is a fight between two veterans who seem to be on the downside of their careers. Hey, what up? Here, internet, come here. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the famous Oliver that I always talk about. It's my nephew. Say hi.
Hey.
Say hi, America. Say hi, America. Yeah, you need a diaper, dude. What the fuck? You smell. B.O. Let go. Let go. What do you want? Get it. Hold up. What's up? No, that's a microphone. What? You want TV? This is bad light TV, man. Here, go with Papa. Go. He needs a diaper too. I know, this is very good. So you guys go, Jesse, go ahead and talk about this Jim Miller against Danny Castillo fight while I take care of this.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, here, like Eddie was saying initially, I mean, this is where we're gonna see two fighters that desperately need a win, and unfortunately, I just don't see Castillo really pulling it out here. I think Jim Miller is that tough, gritty grinder type guy. I mean, he's been. It's such a tough fight for me. I don't know, like I think Miller has the ability to win this fight. Castillo, heavy-handed, likes to strike, real exciting guy. But I just see Miller here, kind of, suffocating him, taking him to the ground, and eventually getting one of those famous Jim Miller submissions. And I guess that's kind of what I'm hoping for here. There's really not much else I can really hope for in this fight because, like Eddie said, both of these guys really, really need a win here. And I think we're just going to get an exciting fight out of both of these guys looking to keep themselves here in the UFC. What do you think, Nick?
I gotta agree with you. This is going to be a very entertaining fight on that aspect. We get with Jim Miller, who's that grinder, who's been in the UFC forever, and then Danny Castillo, the dad of the alpha males. I'm really excited for this fight. I think Danny Castillo can pull off this win since he's been training, like I said, he trains at Team Alpha Male. He has a great camp behind him. He has that whole team behind him. He has a champ defending his title tonight as well. I think he's gonna work off that adrenaline, work off the champions vibe, and end up getting a win against Jim Miller. I really do like Jim Miller though. He is that grinder. He is that vet in the cage. But I think we're gonna see Last Call getting his win tonight finally.
All right, and I'm back. I guess the kids saw. Here's the thing. I gave my nephew my phone with cartoons on it, and I guess I put it on the bigger TV out there. So he had my phone. He was running around, but he was looking for me for some reason. So yeah, you guys got to meet my nephew, so that's cool. I think that's happened before. So anyway, talking about this fight, Jim Miller against Danny Castillo. Again, this is a fight, in my opinion, of two veterans, right? That seem to be on the downslide of their careers, which is weird because Miller's only 31 years old, but he's got a ton of mileage on him. Castillo's, I think, is like 36, 37, 38 maybe, and he's kind of done. He used to have good movement, good head movement, good defense on the feet. Not much anymore. He's gotten hurt a lot on the feet now. So I'm gonna go with Castillo via knockout. I think he's gonna be one of his last fights. He's not gonna fight for a title. He's not gonna, he's not even. You can't even consider him really a gatekeeper. I think he's just fighting just for the, I mean, I'm sure most fighters fight for the love for the most part, but I think it's gonna be one of his last fights. He's gonna win one by KO, and maybe he steps away after this one.
Hey guys, let me ask you a question.
What's up?
Let me ask you guys a question. You guys, so you both agree that Danny Castillo is gonna get something from the main event, TJ, right?
Yeah.
But don't you think? And we might talk about this a little bit more later on. But don't you think that the thing that's been going on between Dwayne and Team Alpha Male, that might have a little bit of an effect here on pretty much both of these fighters, because that kind of like animosity between a coach and a camp spreads down to everybody else. And I don't think, like Nick said, I don't think he's going to feed off of as much of TJ as we would normally. I think it might be a little bit of contention here. And I think we're gonna actually see. Hopefully they put it behind them, but I think we might see a little bit of a problem brewing here at the main event. What do you guys think?
You got a good point though too, and it's pretty damn recent. It's not like this has been going on, Like they had a bit of whatever the fuck, a little bit of friction, right? When Dwayne first left, there was a little bit of friction. But now in the last week when Dwayne said that the guys at Team Alpha Male don't want to be champions, you're just like, oh shit, and why are you saying this shit 5 days before the fight? It makes no sense. So, no, you have a good point. That guy could definitely be a factor in both of these guys' fights. I think especially with Danny though too, because he's pissed off, whatever. He might be part of the guys that's pissed off with Alpha Male. But Nick, what do you think about that? Did you hear about that friction?
Yeah, I have. I read about it actually today, but I don't think it's going to create a problem between the camp. I think they're pros. They have their champion there. They're going to focus on their champion. They're going to focus on their fighters, and it's not going to be a problem. I think it's a problem outside of the cage when their fighters aren't fighting. Because look, you have Dwayne who basically got TJ the title, and then he separated, and they're still working together. I think it's not going to be a problem. Outside of the cage and outside of the event, yeah, I think it will be a problem. They'll have to fix that, but I don't think it's going to be a problem tonight.
And that could definitely be the case where they just, they're just professionals. They put it behind them, but I don't know, man. They're still human. They could definitely still, affect them a little bit. So that's a good point brought up by Jesse there. But real quick, Jesse, you picked Jim or you picked Danny?
Yeah, I went with Miller, man. It's one of my heart picks here, man. I just want him to really get that last win and maybe ride off into the sunset. Either one of these guys, if they get a win and they just call it good, I mean, it'll be a good night for either of them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going with Castillo, just kind of like a heart pick, because I like the guy. I've loved watching him fight, but I don't think he's got much left. I think hopefully if he gets a win here, he could just, go off on top as much as he can. So, all right, moving on here to the main prelim, and let me know if we skipped any, because I have to run out real quick and take my nephew over to my dad. But number 15, I'm gonna mess his name up. Gian, is it Gian or Gian? Anyone know?
Gian.
I'll go.
I think it's Gian Villante or something like that.
Gian Villante, whatever, against Tom Lawler. Lawler has always been a kind of a weird fighter to me, because he's not really that good. He's not great anywhere. He's just okay everywhere with Lawler, right? And that's okay in the sense that he's okay enough to not say he's bad everywhere, But in all seriousness, I think it's a terrible matchup for Lawler, as Villante is an athlete who can and will push Lawler around on the feet and on the ground. I don't see Lawler having a chance, man. This is kind of a weird matchup. It's just I'm not really, and maybe you guys know something that I don't about Lawler, but I just don't see anywhere that he can win. I mean, maybe he wins them for the gift or whatever, but it's a really weird matchup to me. Nick, what do you think about this fight between Lawler and Villante? Who you got winning?
I gotta agree with you. I don't see anywhere that Lawler can win this fight, striking on the ground or anything like that. I think Villante is gonna end up getting this win. And my main question: why is this the featured prelim? I think Miller Castillo should be the featured prelim, because that's gonna be a sick fight overall. You have two vets, but that aside, I don't think Tom Lawler, like you said, he's that stagnant fighter. He's not bad anywhere. He's not great anywhere. He's just that guy that gets in the cage and fights for it. And I think Villante is going to end up getting this win tonight.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I'm taking Villante to win this fight. He's just more of an, I don't know. I think he's overall packaged, and he's just way better everywhere. But Jesse, who you got winning and why?
Man, how can you guys pick against the filthy one? Really? He's going to go in there. He's just going to lay on Villante and then, knock him out with his stink power. His famous just rugged stinkiness that he brings in. Nah, man. I mean, and like you guys said, I'm going with you guys. Gian Villante is going to just beat the living out of Lawler here. But it's so weird, because I was looking at his record, and it said his last fight was 2013, and I was like, oh, well, that must have been in the UFC. And then I go, looking for his record, and yet that's the last time he's fought. Like, since 2013, and now he's coming back and fighting. So, I mean, it's like, whatever he's been doing, it's not good. The ring rust, the time off, maybe healing some wounds or something, but, I mean, yeah, I mean, with Gian Villante being a training partner of Chris Weidman, it's just not going to be a good night for him. I mean, he's just got all the abilities, all the knowledge to just come in and just beat the living hell out of Lawler. And I think maybe that's what the UFC wanted. They just wanted to see a brutal beating and a brutal knockout, and then go, yeah, see, now here's the main card or something, Because it almost seems like they're just sending out Lawler to get slaughtered here.
I totally forgot he was Chris Weidman's training partner, and so I'm going Tom Lawler. Let's go, Tom Lawler. No, I'm not switching my pick. I'm going Vellante.
His hate for Weidman is that much. Anyone associated with him, fuck him. So, so you're a big fan of Rockhold right now, right?
Oh yeah, honestly I think that's the only guy that beat him in that division besides Jacare. Jacare has a chance, but I think yeah. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that when it comes up.
And then something real quick that Nick retweeted over to me from MMA Roasted, and I have to say because I think it's funny. It's Miesha Tate said she sees holes in Ronda. I'm jealous. I want to see Ronda's holes. Me too. I want to see them too. Just cause. Anyway, all right. Moving on here to the main card. Main card is also on Fox. It's free. So you got money for beer? Go spend that shit. Get yourself some snacks and kick back. Main card starting at 5 p.m. Pacific. Nice little afternoon time. You can make a carne asada. You have your dinner while you're watching fights. At 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, kicked off by what I think is could be a classic fight. Joe Lozon against Takanori Gomi. Remember Gomi from back in the day when he was just smashing dudes? This isn't him anymore. You know, the Fireball Kid's just long removed from those days, and now he just seems to be kind of a rock'em sock'em robot type of guy to me. This is my opinion on it. Which sucks for the new fans because if you saw him fight in Pride, the dude was a monster. He would find angles that were ridiculous back in the day. So, you know, and he had a really good ground game. Now his ground game is not so good anymore because he doesn't use it very much, or maybe we just don't see it enough to know. But Lozon is good on the ground, right? So, of course, Lozon is Mr. Give Me My Bonus, right? He's the guy that wants to get a bonus. He goes out there, he'll make it a bloody fight. He doesn't care. He won't hesitate to turn a fight into a brawl to win the extra cash. But I think his best bet here is to use his limited striking and then drop down for a heel hook, you know, make it a ground game to get the win. Or, you know, or just get the fight to the ground somehow to have an advantage. So I'm picking Lozon here via submission. I know Max Reed won't be happy about that. But, you know, of course, Takanori Gomi could knock Lozon out, especially if Lozon, you know, decides to keep it on the feet and get bloody and get a bonus. But I'm going to pick Lozon. I think he goes smart tonight just to get a W. Jesse, what do you think about this between the Fireball Kid and Joe Lozon?
Wow, you said smart and Lozon in the same sentence regarding a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a smart guy. Don't get me wrong, but man, this guy just. I mean, I can imagine everybody on this card was like, all right, I'm on a card, and then they looked at it and they're like, wait, Joe Lozon's on it. Ah, fuck, I guess I'm not getting performance of the night, fight of the night, one of those.
Yeah.
You know, they knew right away that they have to really bring it up a notch to really win that money. And the only thing is that we've seen Lozon kind of take a little bit of time off, heal up his head gash that he got, what was it, from his last fight, I think it was, where I guess he was getting like some kind of like reparative surgery to get the scar tissue out of there so he wouldn't cut as easy. And I think that has helped him. That's going to help him in this fight, I think, having a little bit of time off. Both of them are coming off losses, so, I mean, like you said, this is not the Takanori Gomi that we all kind of talk about, you know, that we all just remember the highlights of him just smashing dudes and just having, like, these epic, like, fights. I mean, this is a guy that is probably just going to come in here, try to do some things, and get worn out and then just get beaten up, and then Lozon's going to go into the back, cash another check, and go home. So, I mean, that's how I'm going with Lozon here.
All right. Look, you're going Lozon. I'm going Lozon. What about you, Nick? Who you got?
I'm going Gomi. I love Lozon, man. He's a great fighter. He's very entertaining. Just overall seems like a nice dude. But I think Gomi is the guy to stop Lozon and make Lozon think about his career now and just see if he's going to go just straight jiu-jitsu and keep doing just tournaments. It's just, I don't know, man. I think Lozon's slowly leaving the UFC. He's slowly ending his career. And Gomi's like his nickname says it all. He's a fireball. He'll drop you. He'll take you down. He'll wrestle with you. He'll get up and he'll drop you again. I like Gomi, and I think Gomi's gonna end up taking this one.
All right, so we might see a repeat of some history. And again, I don't hate Gomi. In fact, I'm a big fan of Gomi's. I just don't know. I don't know. It's a weird fight, but it's a great fight to start the main card off. Just like Jesse was saying before, you want to get a fight at the beginning to put some kind of tone on the fights, and then you put whatever in the middle. This is a good fight to start the main card with. Maybe put a pace on it. Maybe you know, some kind of feeling to it that it's going to be a finish. Because I don't think this fight. I hope this fight doesn't go decision. I really do hope this fight gets finished at some point. So, all right, moving on here to a very. I've been excited about this fight since they announced it. I'm glad no one got hurt. I'm just ready to see this fight. Edson Barbosa taking on Paul Felder. This is my pick for fight of the night, right? These are two guys who are strikers. We've seen both of them drop guys with the powerful moves, and so this is a prime matchup, or a matchup that is prime for fight of the night. Edson Barbosa, he's a great talent. If not for the losses to killers like Jamie Varner, Donald Cerrone, and Michael Johnson, I think it was, Michael Johnson, this dude would be on a ridiculous winning streak right now. So that being said, he seems to not be able to defend overhand rights whatsoever, and that's a scary thing because everyone knows how to throw an overhand right these days. So on the other side, Felder's a scary dude. He's developed quickly because he's 31 years old, so he's not a young guy anymore. He's not a prospect, but he's still very skilled on the feet. Barbosa's going to be his biggest test so far, right, that Felder's seen in the cage. Last time we saw Felder, I think he finished someone via a spinning back fist, right? And ends up Barbosa's a guy that finishes people in dynamic ways. So this should be an exciting fight. I'm very excited for it. I'm gonna go with Paul Felder here. Be some kind of knockout. I think it's a long shot. I'll be honest with you, it's a long shot. But again, Barbosa just leaving himself open for certain things makes me think Paul Felder has studied it and trained on those things and is going to take advantage of them. It could definitely be the other way. This is too close. I just want to see the fight itself, and I think we all win just watching the fight. But I'm going to take Paul Felder via TKO at some point. Jesse, who you got in this fight and why?
Man, again, I'm going to call you out, Eddie. You said Jamie Varner and Killer?
Okay, to be honest with you, he used to be a killer, okay? The dude used to be able to hurt people and drop people, okay? He used to. Maybe the Barbosa fight was the last time he was able to do it, actually, right? So he ran out right there. After that, okay, fine. He was done. But at that fight, still good.
You got to give Varner his props, man. He had some crazy fights leading up to the end there where he was just trying to knock people out and just would get finished. But, I mean, I think the problem here is we've seen how Barbosa gets beat. You know, a very methodical, very thoughtful fighter like Michael Johnson was able to just stop him from doing anything crazy, anything fancy, stifled him, you know, and just beat him. You know, and that's the thing here. If Felder is going to get into any kind of striking match here, it might not be so good for him. But the problem that I've always seen with Barbosa is he goes away from his bread and butter, which is his Muay Thai. You know, he gets away from that, and it just drives me nuts because he wants to just straight box, or maybe, you know, he gets away from his kicking game, which is probably one of the most lethal ones, you know, that we've seen. The way he finished Terry Edom with that spinning oh my god kick to the dome, that was just crazy, awesome. You know. And that's the thing here. I mean, we need to see Edson Barbosa do exactly what a lot of other fighters need to do. You know, if you're a straight jiu-jitsu guy, kind of like Jake Shields, you know, coming up in a couple weeks. Jake Shields is jiu-jitsu all the way. He doesn't have fancy striking. He doesn't even try to improve his striking. His striking looks like, you know, a 10-year-old taught him how to strike. But once he gets you to the ground, you're in his world and you're screwed. And I think this is what Barbosa needs to do here. He needs to just, you know, keep the distance up, throw them heavy down for the count. It's going to be a great fight, like Eddie was saying. I mean, this is going to be one of those fights that we're going to be talking about probably. I'm picking Barbosa here. But, man, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat for this fight for sure.
Yeah, and you know what? You're right. I think Jake Shields, which is weird that Jake Shields' striking sucks because he hangs out with the Diaz brothers and those guys are striking geniuses almost. So that is weird. And Gilbert Melendez. I don't know. That's a weird thing, right? You train with these guys all the time and never pick up any striking. It's just weird. I mean, just diversify your game, man. But, Nick, what do you think about this fight? Who you got winning?
This is, like you guys said, this is going to be a great, amazing fight. Paul Felder is a monster. He comes in, he comes to fight. He comes to take your head off and everything like that. But, look, Barbosa, this is all you have to do to win. Throw those nasty leg kicks, and you will stop Paul Felder in his tracks. Mm-hmm. You already won 2 fights by leg kicks, just by leg kicks alone. Just start setting up those leg kicks and start chopping down that tree, man. Because use your bread and butter, use that Muay Thai, use your kickboxing, because that's the only way you're going to win this fight. Other than that, if you try boxing with Paul Felder, he's going to lose. I think this is going to be Paul Felder's first loss. I think Barbosa is going to stick to his bread and butter and start using that Muay Thai coming from his last fight that I don't even want to talk about his last fight because I was very upset with it. His whole fight overall. But I think Barbosa could be a legitimate contender, hopefully, if he figures out how to not get caught. But I think Barbosa is going to win by either decision or chopping down that tree and getting a TKO.
Ugh. Nick, you
Yeah.
reminded me of that Lulo fight. Oh my God, that was
Yes.
nasty. When he just literally kicked that guy's leg into just meat shreds. It was
Yep.
terrible. Oh my God.
Do you guys remember Paul Hizzo?
Yep.
Pedro Hizzo. Pedro Hizzo?
Yeah,
Pedro
Pedro.
Hizzo.
Yeah, he's fighting again, by the way, in Brazil. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Everyone's legs are fucked. That dude kicks like a horse. He kicks like
And that's
a
what
mule.
a lot of UFC fighters don't utilize leg kicks. It slows everybody down when you start chopping down those legs. So let's go Barbosa.
Yeah, ask Nate Diaz. He knows when RDA chopped his shit to bits. So, all right, moving on here to the co-main event. Number 2, Miesha Tate against number 5, Jessica Ai. Miesha Tate might as well. I mean, let's just say she's the permanent gatekeeper for the women's bantamweight division. She's not going to be fighting for the title anytime soon, I don't think. Even if she wins this fight, I don't know. It's just hard to justify giving her another shot at Ronda. And she's a test for girls who want to fight the champ, like Jessica Ai. So it's like fighting a gym boss in Pokemon, so you can move on to the next fight. If you guys ever played the video game, I did in freaking middle school. But you know, and it's just, you know, Tate's the gatekeeper. So Jessica Ai seems to have the weirdest circumstances in every single one of her fights. She tests positive for weed. She blew somebody's ear up in a fight, and she never gets away from a fight clean. It's really weird. So to me, you know, this fight is going to be a wrestler versus striker matchup, right? Tate's game has always been get the fight to the ground, get on top, and stay on top, and just control the whole time. Jessica Ai, meanwhile, wants to strike, wants to stay at range, get in, get out, use her boxing. It's a weird fight, but I'm ready to see somebody else get up there in the women's bantamweight division. So I'm picking Jessica Ai to win this fight via split decision. It's going to be close because Miesha will get her down, will get on top of her, will try to wet blanket her to death. But I think Jessica Ai will score enough to get a split decision here. But it might even be controversial. Who knows really? But Nick, you're shaking your head. Who are you picking in this fight and why?
I'm going Tate, man. That first round is going to be Tate getting beat up like she always does in the last 2 or 3 fights. She's going to get beat up that first round. She's going to get the takedown in the second round because Jessica Ai is going to tire herself out. And like you said, she's going to do that wet blanket routine. I'm going Miesha Tate. I think she's going to stay that gatekeeper that you say, but I'm just going to throw this out here. Ronda Rousey probably won't be champion anytime soon after her next fight. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to say that. We're not talking about this. That's next week. That's coming up in a couple weeks.
Stop the drink, sir. What? Really, you think Betch Correia is going to beat Ronda Rousey?
Anyway, Miesha Tate.
Get the fuck out of here! Wow. Okay, you know what? Yeah, we'll talk about that now. You better be on the pre-fight show for that card, motherfucker, because we're going to talk about this shit, okay? Don't forget.
I will be even if I'm on my phone for just that main event.
Yeah, dude, yeah, you will, okay? We're going to figure this out. All right, you're done.
Anyway, let's go Miesha Tate because I honestly, like you said, that wet blanket routine, that's what she's going to do. She's going to take her down in the second round and the third round and end up getting that decision win. So let's go Miesha Tate.
Can't believe this motherfucker going to say this shit. All right. Jesse, who you got in this fight, why, man?
Well, there went all the viewers. They just took off running after that one.
No, they didn't take off running. My Twitter's probably going to blow up in 30 seconds. Andrew and everything.
I think Nick might be the only person, except for maybe Betch Correia's camp, that is going to pick her to win that fight. But anyway, oh my God, that's hilarious. But I can't even think anymore. This is crazy.
I feel like Fred. Why do I feel like Fred right now?
Because you make dumbass statements that make no sense. That's why. That's why you feel like Fred. Anyway, go ahead, Jesse. Dude.
Oh my God, man. I think it's gonna be a sad night in the Tate/Caraway household because I think both of these are gonna get their asses beat. Like you said, Nick, Miesha's gonna get in there. She's gonna get beat up in that first round, and then that second round, and then that third round, and then she's gonna lose because, look at the fight with Kat Zingano. She wasn't really offering much in that fight, and she was just, for her to still get a title shot after that, that was just BS. They just needed her to kind of, I don't know, they're kind of like giving her these gift fights to be like, okay, look, she's winning all these fights, she's winning all these fights, you know. Don't get me started on Mr. Gustafsson over there trying to get gifted fights and then can't even finish those fights. But I think it's the same effect here. They want Miesha Tate to get there and win. It ain't gonna happen. It just ain't gonna happen. I think Jessica, she's the stronger fighter of the two. She's just got the power, and I think she's gonna utilize it. She's got the crisper boxing, and I think she's just gonna beat up Miesha 3 rounds, and then I even think she might put her away. Kind of like Kat Zingano did, put Miesha Tate away. So, and I think this is going to be the best fight of the night, I think, just because the peak viewership is going to be in this fight, just because 2 hot chicks fighting it out in skimpy clothing. Mm-hmm. If this doesn't get all the guys coming to watch the fight, I don't know what is. So, over a million views, here we go.
They're going to break records tonight. All right, well, yeah, so let's just get away from the women's fight. I'm about to lose my shit again. So I can't believe you said that shit. I really can't believe you said that shit, man. But anyway, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that for that pre-fight show. We'll have to schedule that later. Anyway, all right, on to the main event, the rematch we've been waiting for. Finally, we get the rematch. Champion TJ Dillashaw against Renan Barao, your number 1 contender. Now, we're supposed to get it a long time ago, but Barao knocked himself out in a bathtub, and he made weight yesterday. Mind you, he came in at 135.5. He got off the scale, started walking away, and Dana's like, no, you got to come back. You can't be half a pound over. And he weighed in, put the towel out, and then he made weight, 135 even. So, so we get a title fight here. So that last fight, from what I saw, I rewatched it this morning just, to refresh my memory, is TJ was too fast. He came in from too many angles, and then he rocked Renan Barao real bad. And with that overhand right that Barao ate and just dropped. And after that, Barao was just 2 or 3 gears slower than TJ Dillashaw. And that's kind of what I think the advantage was that TJ was able to hurt him early. I don't think it happens like that this time around. I think Renan Barao, I think we're going to see a different Renan Barao, right? I think he's going to be a way different guy. He's not going to let, TJ just run around. He's not going to let TJ just get into angles and come at him with his arms down and shit and moving his head like this. I think we're going to see Renan Barao get his title back tonight. And I know it's going to be, it's not going to be the favorite, the popular pick whatsoever. I think everyone's going to be picking TJ Dillashaw. And, if he wins, completely deserves it. I just think Renan Barao is going to come in with a chip on his shoulder, ready to come back and get his belt back and take it back to Nova União. But, that's obviously given that nobody hurts themselves on the way to the arena and all that shit tonight. So, Jesse, what do you think about this fight? Renan Barao against TJ Dillashaw. Who you got winning and why?
Man, Barao can't even win a fight with the bathtub, so what does that tell you?
That's a good point.
He fell down, got hit, got knocked out, got sent to the hospital. His weight cutting, he can't even beat that. I think the problem here is I figured out why Dwayne and Alpha Male don't get along, and it's because TJ is now the exact thing that they don't like. And what is it? It's Dominic Cruz. He has the same style as Dominic Cruz, and I think that we're seeing that TJ Dillashaw, or Dominic Cruz Light, as I would like to call him, it has those angles, has that speed, has everything, and Barao has no answer for that. And once Dominic Cruz comes back, we're going to see him just dominate the division and just pretty much destroy everybody. And here's the problem. I don't think Barao has shown me in any of his he had one fight before. He didn't show me that he learned anything from, his loss. He just kept on rolling, kept on doing what he does. He's just thinking, I just need to make weight better and, just not get hit in the first round and I'll be good. Nah, man. Like, TJ Dillashaw has a lot more speed, like Eddie was saying, has the hard punches, just has the wrestling, has everything all put together. And that's what we're going to see. We're just going to see one hell of a clinic of just striking, wrestling, just everything mixed together well enough to just put Barao down for the count. The only caveat here, I think, like I mentioned earlier, is that whole alpha male Dwayne Ludwig situation. If everything's all good and we have, Team Alpha Male supporting their guy like they should and everything, it'll all be good, But the problem is that those pressures of, having TJ, being the only one that wants to be champion and, having those things being said about your team, that creates animosity between everybody. Because then everybody's going to be like, hey, what the fuck, TJ, what are you telling Dwayne over there? Because Dwayne's not even in the camp anymore. So for him to say something like that it creates problems that are unnecessary. So hopefully, like Eddie said, hopefully everybody's professional, puts it behind them, and just gets behind Dillashaw to make sure he keeps his belt here. But I mean, that's my only thing. That's my only concern coming into this fight. That a lot of those pressures of these two people, basically just two people, being on outs with each other and creating drama for everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. So, and real quick, because we got some tweets here while you were talking. First of all, Max tweets in saying $$ Dillashaw wins by Dwayne Ludwig times Goku Father-Son Kamehameha. So if you got to see Dragon Ball Z, that's exactly what he thinks will happen. And then Mike Jarvis sends the best picture ever. Let me see. You know what? I'm gonna go out of my way and try to show this because we need to see this. All right, people need to see this. This is important. Hang on. Come on, Google. Don't fuck with me. This is live TV right now. I'll work on this. But anyway, as soon as it pops up, I'm gonna. Oh wait, it's coming. And here it is. Okay, here you go. There it is. See, I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see it. Can you see it, Jesse?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, yeah. What you talking about, Nick? What you talking about, son? Yeah, Mike Jarvis. That's credit to Mike right there on that one. All right.
Oh God.
So, okay, Nick, go ahead. Who you got in this fight? Who you got right here, man? Who you think Anderson's gonna come back and beat Weidman too? Like what you got in this fight, dude?
I missed this first fight. I was very upset that I missed this first fight. It's one of the one pay-per-views that I did miss. And I thought Barao was going to run over TJ. I thought TJ was going to get totally demolished, and I was wrong. The whole world was wrong about TJ. We got to see his last fight against Joe Soto, okay, you got to fight on 12 hours notice, whatever. I think Dillashaw's speed could win him the fight. Again, I think his angles and his speed can win him the fight and let him keep that belt. But Barao has power. Barao is smart. He's been in the game forever. He was undefeated for 8, 9 years, yeah. until TJ Dillashaw hit him with that one punch and dropped him and just messed up his whole night. But I do think that TJ is going to win the belt. I think TJ is going to keep the belt. He's going to. I think he just has Barao's number. I think he's just that guy that has Barao's number, and it's going to be an amazing fight. It's not going to be a finish. I think it's going to be a war. It's going to be a very entertaining fight, but TJ's leaving with the belt and keeping it with Team Alpha Male.
All right, so you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. This is our picks for this UFC Chicago fight card. Actually, the prelims begin, it looks like about 35 minutes from now, so get all your stuff ready, get ready to kick back, have some fun with some actually pretty good fight card. So thanks for tuning in. It's going to be a pre-fight show. Thanks to Jesse for coming on. You can follow him at how do you say it all together? Because I always spell it out.
The Splat.
Splat? Okay, I'm at Splat anyway because no way people got that. So SPWAT1983 on Twitter to follow Jesse. You can follow the page at CrossBonesMMA. Nick is over at NickXMicro. You follow myself at Elaw31. Big thanks to our friends over at FightBookMMA.com. They're good dudes. And thanks for tuning in. You guys have a good night. Enjoy the fights. And we'll talk to you guys later.